This video is sponsored by Van Digital, a social media, virtual assistance, and web design agency.
Okay, welcome back to my channel. Today, we are going to talk about healing childhood trauma. So, this will be episode 1. And no, I don't need a degree to speak about this because I lived the experience and I healed. So, I can tell the tale and give help as directed. So, this is the being unliked as a child to people pleaser pipeline, part 1. So, I can give a little backstory about how I found myself in this situation. Um, hmm, Growing up, I was definitely othered and different. So I grew up sometimes being the only person of color in the majority of my classes for about, I would say, maybe kindergarten to, or even daycare. So from ages 3 to 10, maybe. And if there were other Black people, I was also othered by them due to the fact of features, um, ethnicity, so being two main different ethnicities, and also the fact that when I did have certain family members come and pick me up, I would always be asked if I was adopted or if I was mixed race, if that makes sense. Um, and as a young child, this really gave me, I wouldn't say an identity crisis, but I definitely felt like I wasn't rooted in who I was. So, for example, the Jamaicans, due to my last name, they did not accept me. Um, and at the time, I had a gap. I was a mini version of my father, basically. And that did not read Caribbean at the time. On the other hand, my African brothers and sisters, they did not consider me at all because I did not look like them. I could not speak the language. I didn't get the lingo. Um, and the only thing really tying me to them was the last name. So I definitely struggled to fit in. And the majority of my friends growing up were of that complexion. And I did face a lot of microaggressions and racism. Um, when I did have a gap in my teeth, I used to get bullied a lot. They used to say that they could that they, they could fit a straw in between my teeth. Someone, I remember this clearly, I think I was in the second grade, and Um, we were reading the Bible, came back from mass or something, and they said like an evil person um, cannot, or is it a rich person cannot enter the gates of heaven, similarly as a camel cannot go through the eye of a needle. And someone said, you can fit a camel between my gap, right? And I laughed, but I was also mortified. Even though it was I guess, a stamp of my quote unquote heritage, because everyone on my dad's side had one. Um, Moving forward, as a child, I felt ugly, even though hindsight is 2020, and no one could really call me ugly, not in good faith, anyways. Then and now. Um, I was dark skinned. One, my dad convinced me that sunscreen wasn't important, and indeed it is. And I used to go tanning with my white friends, so I would literally just lay in the sun. Um, I was also I was a tomboy, let's say that. And I was chubby to overweight to obese to morbidly obese. Almost to the point where my highest weight was almost 400 pounds. And I think I have to also release the video of how I lost the weight and kept it off all these years. Yeah, I did mention I had a gap that I was really insecure about. Um, and society told me that I wasn't attractive. And I believed it. I believed that false narrative that I wasn't the standard of beauty. Um, and for a long time, I did take that to heart. Sorry, I'm looking at my notes. Um, right. I did say I couldn't speak my father's language as well. Right. So going back to that topic, I do have the receipts if y'all do not believe me that I looked like that in the past. I've definitely been through several glow ups since then, but I can attest that I've never truly been ugly. hmm Now, growing up around age 14, I really started to come into my looks. And growing up, I would always pray that I would love to look like my mom. My mom had that pull, that effortless beauty, that fashion sense, that pizzazz, that riz that you guys like to call, you know? And lo and behold, one day I had plenty of people come up to me and tell me that, wow, you really look like your mom. And as time went on, I indeed embodied her beauty. Thank God for that. So, as of right now, yes, I am pretty, I'm gorgeous, I lost the weight, my skin cleared up. I used to suffer from extremely bad acne. to the point where the majority of my skin was a different skin tone. And I would never leave the house without makeup because my skin was so bad. Up until about COVID when I cleared up my acne. And now I have relatively clear skin. Alhamdulillah. Um, so I've gained all of these conventionally attractive traits, right? I have a good shape, I got hair, I'm successful, I got a degree, la di dee, la di da. But did that stop me from being a people pleaser in my early 20s, even my mid 20s? But definitely in my early 20s, it did not stop. Because at every milestone that I would hit, whether it is financial, academic, uh, physically, mentally, I would heal one trauma block and I'm like, oh no, we still got more to go. We still have another generational curse to break. Oh, we have this to do. It was never enough. I was always on go. And I always wanted to be liked up until first year of university. I would sacrifice myself, my comforts for the validation of other people. So that meant I had to clock into work and smile and, hey guys, and be fake as hell. Pardon my language. I would do it because I wanted to be liked. I wanted to belong. And it's not as if I came from an impoverished background. Far from it. But in my family, some members of our family thought putting up a facade was ideal. So I learned from their mistakes and made quite a few on my own. Being a people pleaser made me suffer. I suffered in situations that made me feel like I was suffocating. I suffered through friendships and relationships where I felt like I had to dim my light or become somebody I wasn't, to stuff down and compress parts of myself and my personality for a shred of validation. I would say that at a point in time, I did live for the applause. And at a time, it was quite easy because my goals aligned with society and groups of people.